Okay, this one is accessing. This one's by Tennessee Williams. How tranquilly the olive branch observes the sky begin to blanch, without a cry, without a prayer, with no betrayal of despair. Sometime when light obscures the tree, the zenith of its life must be past, done forever, and from thence a second history will commence. A chronicle no longer gold of bargaining with mist and mold. And finally, the broken stem, the plummeting to earth, and then an intercourse not well designed for beings of a golden kind, whose native green must arch above the earth's obscene, corrupting love. And still, the ripe fruit and the branch observe the sky began to blanch without a cry, without a prayer, with no betrayal of despair. Oh, courage, could you not as well select some other place to dwell, not only in that golden tree, but in the frightened heart of me?
Wow.
Thank you. Be back again next week for...
Next week. Maybe later. Okay. So, our last question.
The last question.
You know, this is Yola Tango. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yay, Yola Tango.
I like Yola Tango here. And Yola Tango is playing the Looney Tunes theme. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's, you know, it really is the Looney Tunes theme. So we start with the cartoon, and then we end with the...
Yes, the great...
I have got you.
Well, what kind of goo would this be? You know, it would have to have supernal qualities in itself. Be a kind of super ectoplasm, as it were. And it would probably have many special characteristics, like royal jelly, for example. Yes, it would be a special kind of goo, an empyrean substance, similar to the ichor, which used to flow in the veins of the gods, the golden blood of the immortals, the divine beings. That would be pretty potent goo. But Jesus could, if he wished, still the swelling life within it. But that's not what Jesus is all about. Jesus isn't going to break his own rules. So,
hold on. Jesus wouldn't give an abortion even if it made him laugh?
I think not. I think not. You know, that's a matter of behavior, a matter of character. People don't act out of character. And the more you are removed from being an actual person in the realm of symbolism, the more you're living up to other people's ideas of what you are and are restricted in your movement and your possibilities. So, paradoxically, this restricted arena gives forth two rules of freedom. Freedom for developing life. So, no abortion in this case from such a quarter.
Could goo get a girl so pregnant that even Jesus couldn't give her an abortion? Ladies and gentlemen, that was our show.
Yes, it was.
that would have been the end of our show.
Yes, it would have. Some end that is. Oh well.
But I have one more question.
Oh, well, another question pops up from the hopper. Very well, let's answer that one.
And here it is.
Bring it to a conclusion. Drive a stake through its heart.
This is really the last question.
So you say?
And we did it. We got through the show, ladies and gentlemen. We
so far
endured the Pete Goldie segment. Let's hear it for Pete Goldie. Where's Pete Goldie?
Ladies and gentlemen. Now! With animations, star charts, and now!
K-Rob showed a really funny cartoon for you called
Book Review.
Book Review.
Now!
You guys remember that?
Not only that, he made
a long
the
time ago.
deafening special effects accumulation known as Monster Snake Coffee Break. Now!
And ladies and gentlemen, David Capurro has surfed the internet.
Now! David Capurro. There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night in San Francisco, and you're applauding for a guy who surfed the internet for you.
That's right.
I did that to you.
And they appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skippy has been our doorman. He robbed the room as you walked in.
Skippy, creepy and junky.
Now! I'd also like to, thank the Brazilian astronaut for coming back.
Yes, the Brazilian astronaut.
How many?
Salt of the earth.
How many? The Brazilian astronaut. Now! I'd like to thank people who are listening to us on 87.9 FM.
Our radio audience.
The RadioValencia.
And you can listen to this show afterwards as a podcast.
A podcast.
And Valerie's recovering from a bicycle accident which she never should have had. We're all glad that she's better. It's real.
I'd like to thank Valerie for walking from the bathroom to her room in a towel 6 weeks ago. Let's hear it for Valerie.
I'm sorry I wasn't there for that.
I'd like to thank Dr. Hal for coming here and answering your questions.
Well, thank you.
And personally, I have a question for K-Rob, and that question is, when? K-Rob, when? Now!
Oh,
the question.
Bidges. B-I-D-G-E-S. Okay.
Bidgie, Squidgy, Bedoink, and Sons.
Bidgie, Squidgy, Bedoinks comprise within themselves all of the active and recognizable characteristics of Bidges and Squidges, since Bidges and Squidges are from the same taxon and may be the same being. But since all Squidges are beady doinks, these also are allied with and cognate with the family of the first taxon, the Bidges and the Squidges. In other words, these are all variants of the same form and the same order of being, whatever the hell they are.
I'll give it to you one more time, because it's a little tricky. You guys gonna stay with me here? You guys with me? If all Bidges are Squidges, and all Squidges are beady doinks, what are Bidgie, Squidgy, Bedoinks? Oh my God! I would like to just point out, for those people who weren't paying attention,
Such forms as Gigantoraptor, for example, non-dinosaurian, though dinosaurian size.
that the guy who asked the question about the ornithology, not only is he wearing flip-flops, he has really, really long hair, and he's wearing a really, really long hair wig over his really long hair.
And this is illegal or somehow offends you?
No, it's just amusing.
He's bringing more entertainment, you know, and we appreciate it because we want everyone to have fun. Unfortunately, we have come to
the last question.
And it's a $5 question. That's a good way to go out.
So, stop your feathers.
Did any ornithischians have feathers?
Ornithischians! What's wrong with me?
Ornithischians are a different clade of the dinosaurs.
They're all the same thing. Lizards, dinosaurs, things.
We divide the dinosaur family into two taxons, generally based on the structure of the pelvis or the hip. They are either all saurischians or ornithischians, and the ornithischians included the thyreophora or shield bearers, the armored types with their horns and plates and hooves and elaborate display structure, cropping beaks, thick skins, and you know what, folks, there's no feathers on them. Now, the Psittacosaurus has recently been accused of having a furry brush standing on its tail. Well, I say, you've got to prove it by me that it's not a fin used for swimming, because they seem to have skeletal adaptations for swimming. This being the basal ornithischian, basal ceratopsian, I mean to say, the ancestor of all the ceratopsians, like Triceratops, Styracosaurus. That means they all might be water creatures too, like the hippopotamus. Most recent discovery finds that the stomach of Triceratops was plated like a crocodile, but the back of it may have had quills like a porcupine. Oh yes, dinosaurs are weirder than anybody could possibly imagine. But as far as feathers are concerned, I don't believe a feather has ever been found on a dinosaur. Feathers have been intuited. But if one says that all birds are dinosaurs, then the feathers of the Ergvogel, the first bird, Archaeopteryx, are feathers on a dinosaur. And the bee hummingbird, the smallest bird in existence in Cuba, is actually a dinosaur. To me, what distinguishes a bird from a dinosaur is the presence of feathers. If it has feathers, it's a bird, particularly asymmetric feathers, the feathers of flight. It's very simple to get feathers. From an evolutionary standpoint, they simply evolve from a scale. They don't evolve from dino fuzz. But what about these strange feathery monstrosities that they extract from China? Well, first of all, there is a fake fossil factory in China that turns this stuff out by the ton. You can get these fake fossils. They are good enough to fool, you know, some pretty good scientists. They have already. There have been fake feathered fossils. But there are some large critters that do have feathers. Space does not allow me to go into this controversy. But it is a controversy. It's not a done deal, although museums have spent millions of dollars in putting up displays which make it seem as if it is. Large, walking reptilianoid monstrosities with feathers do exist, but they are the enlarged descendants of saurian birds, like birds with reptilian characteristics which died before the end of the Mesozoic. And that's my ruling. In 30 years, but I noticed that the SF Bleeping Chronicle announced that the Cacophony Society would appear in Santa Claus suits on Market Street. Well, you know, if it's in the Chronicle, it's no longer the Cacophony Society, and the Santa Claus suits have come and gone. Anyway, now it's time to answer the last question at the last extended moment of the Ask Dr. Hal show.
Here it is. What's the deal with all the feathered dinosaurs? Did all the theropods have feathers? Or only some?